coming out of you, bro. You got hate coming out of your fucking pores, bro. And you say all that shit from behind the police.
Exactly.
Do you understand that?
What's going on, you guys? Drew Hernandez here with Lives Matter. Welcome to the Lives Matter official podcast. If you are new and tuning in for the very first time, make sure to subscribe below and to hit the bell notification to never miss a post from me. So let's get right into it. Thank you to everyone that donated and chipped in to help me get to New York City and that made this trip possible. If you guys would like to support me monthly to continue to support me on these trips, the links are in the description below through Patreon, or you can give a one-time donation as well. The links are below. So first off, I attended the Refuse Fascism communist, self-proclaimed communist demonstration right in the heart of Manhattan. They were marching through the streets. They were calling for a revolution. And it was very clear that these people want to overthrow the United States of America via communist revolution. If you don't believe me, take a look.
Revolution, nothing less. Revolution, nothing less.
How do we get out of this mess?
Revolution, nothing less.
How do we get out of this mess?
Revolution, nothing less.
How do we get out of this mess?
Revolution, nothing less.
How do we get out of this mess?
Revolution, nothing less.
How do we get out of this mess?
Revolution, nothing less.
Some of us are communists. Some of us are anarchists. Some of us are Democrats. Some of us are moderate Republicans. But we've come together under the common recognition that the Trump-Pence regime poses a catastrophic danger to humanity. And it's our responsibility to drive it from power. And with the New York City Revolution Club, we co-sponsor these demonstrations today with refusefascism.org. And the New York City Revolution Club, we are getting organized for an actual revolution to overthrow this system. Because we need a real revolution in this country. Because what kind of a system would put into office an open white supremacist and put it in the White House? A system that's no good and is rotten and needs to be overthrown, torn up from the bottom up.
And they're not just gonna let us do it. We actually have to make a revolution to overthrow this system. Say it with me, overthrow. 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 Overthrow this fucking system.
Overthrow this fucking system.
And put into place the new Socialist Republic of North America, architected by Bobby Bacon and the Revolutionary Communist Party, a society that can actually ensure the rights of black and brown people. Look, our people's police, our security forces would rather give their own lives than go wantonly kill one of the masses, because that is what it would actually mean to protect and serve. That is not what these forces out here do.
As we finished marching through Manhattan and we made our way into the so-called occupied zone, Abolition Park, which is in front of City Hall, which is occupied by a bunch of homeless people and BLM activists and just dirty people that smell and don't take showers and probably don't have a job and that are living off of government assistance, but still they attempt to say that this system needs to burn down, but hey, they leverage it anyways to get their point across, but that's another podcast for another day. As we made our way into the so-called Abolition Occupied Park or zone, there were some interesting demonstrations, and I came across, in the name of Black Lives Matter, a drag king that was dancing with some pretty trendy moves.
Thank you all for being here. My name is Oliver Her Face, and I'm the drag king. Yes.
It can't be spoken as the pain goes on and on. Empty chairs and empty tables. Now my friends are dead and gone. Even now, the very words that they had sung became the last communion on this lonely barricade at dawn. In the windows, phantom shadows on the floor. no more. Oh, my friends, don't ask me what your sacrifice was for. Empty chairs and empty tables, where my friends will say no more.
This is what we're up against, America. Now, I do take communism seriously. I honestly do. I think that there are radical communists that are ready to shed innocent blood for the sake of their so-called revolution and utopia that they want to usher in here in the United States of America. There is plenty of footage that I myself personally have taken the responsibility not only to cover it, but to show it to you as well, to show you that there is an entity out there that exists, that is self-proclaimed communist, that is ready to overthrow the system. And what is the system? The system is you. The system is anybody that disagrees with their communist views or their Marxist views, or anyone that disagrees with their incoming revolution that they want to establish. So you are the system. And if you think that this isn't going to come knocking on your front door someday, think again. Study history. Mao did it, Stalin did it, Lenin did it, and every self-proclaimed communist that has wreaked havoc and commits so many hundreds of millions of crimes against humanity, it all started this way. So take heed, America. So next up, I actually attended a Blue Lives Matter demonstration. The organizer of the demonstration was making his intentions very clear. He was very aware that there was media present. There were people doing interviews. As the Blue Lives Matter demonstrators were occupying Marine Park in Brooklyn, New York, they were on one side, but then BLM protesters began to assemble to counter-protest the scary and evil and racist Blue Lives Matter, defend the police demonstrators. And they were on the opposite side of the park. And when they began to actually march towards the Blue Lives Matter, things began to get a little spicy. Take a look.
How do you spell racist? NYPD. How do you spell racist? NYPD.
Save the children! Save
NYPD. NYPD. How do you spell serious? NYPD. How do you spell hatred? NYPD.
The shootings at an all-time high. Defund the police. Keep doing it. You're all gonna die. Congratulations. Play yourself.
All lives matter. 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 All lives matter.
Now, after the Black Lives Matter activists here in Brooklyn, New York, and Marine Park were done intimidating the scary, scary Blue Lives Matter, defend the police protesters or demonstrators, once they were done spitting all kinds of crazy slurs and all kinds of obscenities and all kinds of cursings at them, they actually began to get into their face to face with, there were probably like maybe 30 to 40 cops, NYPD, shout out to them for protecting the Blue Lives Matter demonstrators from these insane Black Lives Matter advocates. And here's one of them that is absolutely filled with hatred, accusing the Blue Lives Matter activists of being filled with hatred. Take a look at this.
You understand what I'm telling you? Fuck all that USA shit and look at the matter at hand, bro. Look at the matter at hand, bro. You came out here with so much hate, bro. You have nothing but hate coming out of you, bro. You have nothing but hate coming out of you, bro, because I seen you at other protests. You got nothing but hate coming out of you, bro. You got hate coming out of your fucking pores, bro. And you say all that shit from behind the police. Exactly. Do you understand that? Do you understand that?
Now, as you could tell, this individual is extremely filled with nothing but hatred. And he sits there and he says, you got hate coming out of your pores. You got hate coming out of your pores. Buddy, you got hate coming straight out of your mouth. You have hate literally flooding your eyeballs to the point where you can't even literally look these people in the eye with any kind of peace, where you have to scream and shout as if they're the ones filled with hatred when it's you. You're literally looking into a mirror as to what you claim to be fighting against. This is the epitome of what Black Lives Matter is. They take their fingers and they take their hatred and they project upon anyone else that they disagree with everything that they hold within, and they project it amongst their enemy, whomever that may be, standing right in front of them. And I think this is a very clear, yet again, hypocritical example of the so-called peaceful protesters of Black Lives Matter. Now, this is really gonna bother you, infuriate you, just like all the other content that I capture and I show you guys. But this one will really hit close to home. And the reason why is because, yet again, it has to do with babies. I think we all know by now that Black Lives Matter, Antifa, every radical leftist organization does not care about children because they advocate for the murder of children inside of the womb. So it doesn't surprise me when I capture, like I did in Portland a couple weeks ago, a Black Lives Matter activist using a human baby shield. It doesn't surprise me when BLM starts to make statements silencing anyone that tries to bring up a black 1-year-old little baby that was shot in cold blood murder. It doesn't surprise me to see or hear what I'm about to show you. So to give you a little bit of context, the reason why the Blue Lives Matter protesters or demonstrators are bringing up a 1-year-old little baby in Brooklyn is because a 1-year-old little baby, black baby, was murdered in cold blood murder, was shot to death in Brooklyn. And so as this demonstration began to unfold, the Blue Lives Matter demonstrators began to question the Black Lives Matter protesters, counter-protesters, if this 1-year-old little baby matters to them. And this was their ridiculous response.
Baby dying, 1 year old.
Will you shut up with the baby thing already, dude? Seriously.
Go back.
Shut up with the baby.
Listen to me.
You said it.
Bonnie! Bonnie! I heard what you just said, Bonnie.
Who said babies don't matter? Who said it?
You guys! Bonnie's ass. You say that.
Saying what?
Babies don't matter.
You're a coward. You're all pussies.
I don't know. It's his opinion. What's yours?
Would you shut up with the baby thing already? A black baby shot in cold blood murder, and this is the Black Lives Matter response. Shut up with the baby thing already. You see, and these are the hypocrisies that I like to point out and I like to highlight to the public, because I'm fully aware that my audience is obviously conservative. I'm fully aware that there are a lot of Trump supporters, people on the right that follow me and they track with my content, they listen to my podcast, but I'm also fully aware that the other side is always listening. And I want to take this time right now in the middle of this podcast to show you this is not only hypocrisy, this is evil. This completely discredits Black Lives Matter by themselves. The very name of their organization, Black Lives Matter, is discredited with things like this. And I'm just standing there with a camera documenting this stuff. I don't have to spin it a certain way. I don't have to take it out of context. I don't have to show you some skewed version of what happened. This is who these people are. This is the movement that you claim to support. If Black Lives Matter, why is the response when a black life, a 1-year-old little baby that was shot and cold blood murder in Brooklyn, why is the response when that is brought up to Black Lives Matter, shut up? Shut up with the baby thing already. As if it's a nuisance or annoying, or it's maybe possibly inconvenient and it doesn't fit their narrative. And these Black Lives Matter activists don't care. Because every time you bring something like that up, they always respond, that's not what this is about. That's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about police brutality. But every time we bring up a Black innocent life that has been taken in this world, you come with responses like this. Shut up with the baby thing already. But Black Lives Matter, don't they? So as the night went on, I was still in Brooklyn. I was covering things. I was on the streets, going back and forth, taking Ubers all over the place. I caught wind of a Black Lives Matter vigil in front of the Brooklyn Museum. And, one thing I want to point out about this is, with COVID-19 and everything going on, churches are being shut down. Governor Newsom and all these tyrannical communist governors and mayors are threatening scary Christians and telling them that they can't worship God openly and publicly through song, or they can't even assemble because if the church assembles, they're going to be the ones to spread the scary COVID-19 and kill everyone in America. So shut down the church, violate the First Amendment, and shut it all down because we are Big Brother and because COVID-19 is scary. So everyone shut up and obey what we say. That's all we've been hearing, right? Stay indoors, save lives. Wear a mask, save lives. Shut down your business, save lives. Shut down your church, save lives. But when I pulled up to a Black Lives Matter vigil in Brooklyn, New York, in front of the Brooklyn Museum, what do I find? Hundreds of Black Lives Matter activists gathering together, not social distancing, sitting side by side, but also serving free food that's unregulated.
Believe me, baby. Listen, man, I heard you got you a dime piece, man. One of the Beyonce making good types. Is that true, man? I just want to know. I mean, thanks.
I find it extremely, extremely interesting that Black Lives Matter and leftists are allowed to gather and not social distance. It's kind of like a church service. But anyone that is not a part of Black Lives Matter or the left right now has to be silenced and shut down their church or shut down, and even patriots aren't allowed to throw freedom rallies without being harassed or arrested, or even moms that take their babies to the park are arrested by police for doing so. Or even if you own a nail salon or a hair salon or a barbershop and you keep it open, you're going to be arrested and treated like a felon if you do so in the so-called pandemic. But Black Lives Matter can hold vigils and demonstrations with no social distancing, serving free unregulated food. I call hypocrite. Now, as this bizarre Black Lives Matter vigil was taking place, and I'm using the word bizarre because of the very things I'm about to show you with these next 3 clips. The reason why I'm using the word bizarre to describe this Black Lives Matter vigil is because, number one, they come right out the gate and they start off religiously with a prayer, not to Jesus Christ, but to spiritual beings. Take a look.
And we want to pause and invite our spiritual beings in this space to give them free range to bless us, to protect us. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this moment in history. that was predetermined before each of us was born, that we was boldly proclaim our blackness, our beauty, our bravery. Thank you for this opportunity, this moment of sacred advocacy on the behalf of Black women. Thank you for the opportunity, the space, the liberty, the freedom to openly declare that we are proud of who it is that we are, and that we will not be silenced as it relates to the injustice concerning us. Thank you for this opportunity to be with our sisters, to be with our kin. Thank you. Thank you for the organizers. Thank you for the creativity and the wisdom that you gave them to curate this moment. So we welcome you in this space. Protect us, cover us, keep us, unite us, and give us strength for the journey. Amen and ashe.
So yes, my friend, the next time your pastor tries to say that you and your congregation should support Black Lives Matter, show them this clip. Let them know that Black Lives Matter openly and publicly prays not to Jesus Christ, but to spiritual beings. Now, try and discern what those spiritual beings might be, pastor. As the night went on, doesn't this seem interesting? That leftists and Black Lives Matter are continually exploiting children. Now, we can go deep about that. That's another podcast. And I saw it in New York as well. They used a 13-year-old to spew propaganda about white people being more privileged than Black people in her young life. I'll just let her explain it to you herself. Take a look.
They have been doing this work tirelessly, mentoring little girls like India Owens over here. India, come up. Who is 13, you guys.
As a Black girl growing up, I haven't really had the best life. I had, in fact, encountered some troubles financially and emotionally. As I look back till this day, I'll never get to be over how whites is treated way different from Blacks. I used to have a small, cramped one bedroom. But then I see some of my white classmates having a nice apartment with fully furnished rooms and decent kitchens. Don't I deserve more?
Yes! You do deserve better. You deserve better than being exploited, manipulated, and used by a leftist communist organization to spew straight propaganda to the masses about white people and about you being less privileged, where you live in your geographical location. You absolutely deserve better, young lady, than being exploited this way by this organization. You may someday look back and see and open up your eyes to see that you were extremely exploited and absolutely manipulated by Black Lives Matter for political purposes at the age of 13. It's very sad. It's very sad. These kids don't think for themselves. At 13 years old, your brain is absolutely not developed. Now, are there some intelligent teenagers in our world? Absolutely, but maturity levels are completely different. The brain itself isn't fully developed, I believe, by 25 years old, 30 years old. And you have a 13-year-old speaking to the world about white privilege, and she has no idea what she's even saying? She has no idea. She hasn't even lived long enough to actually even discover if this is even true. Just 13 years of living. And she's come to this conclusion that white people have it better than her and they live better than her. I can guarantee you right now, young lady, these people are not showing you LeBron James, multimillionaire, that can have anything at the drop of a dime. These people are not showing you people like Dave Chappelle that can have anything, that are Black, that can have anything at the drop of a dime. The list goes on. There are so many Black, influential multimillionaires in the USA as we speak that are not being economically oppressed by the white man. If anything, these individuals are being given opportunities that are changing their lives. And these kids are not being taught this. They're just being fed propaganda, and they're being used and exploited to spew it to the masses. Go figure. And as always, because if you read the Black Lives Matter What We Believe section on their website, one of the things that they praise and hail is Black trans lives, or Black women trans lives, to be specific. And so Black Lives Matter had a Black trans woman speaking at their vigil. And one thing I will say before you watch this is just imagine for 1 second if it was a white person saying the things that you're about to hear instead of black, insert the word white. Just imagine for 2 seconds, 1 second, how the media would react, how the world would react. Take a look.
How y'all doing? We love to see it. Thank y'all for coming out today. I believe in our power. I believe in our power. I believe in Black trans power. I believe in Black trans power. We need to say that again. I believe in Black trans power. I believe in Black trans power. And I don't need you to tolerate me. Fuck your tolerance. Black trans women are love. Black trans women are love. Black trans women are family. Black trans women are family. Black trans women are valuable. Black trans women are valuable. Black trans women are worthy. Black trans women are worthy. Black trans women are magic. Black trans women are magic. Black trans women have been here since the beginning of time, so get to it.
Black trans power. Can you imagine if that was flipped? That's essentially saying black power. Can you imagine if there was a white person standing up saying white power, white trans power? It's the same thing. You're taking an ethnicity, you're taking a race, and you're exalting it in superiority. Because that's what those statements mean. But why is it that Black Lives Matter can get away with this? Because they're getting a pass. Why is it that black people and minorities are getting away with racial superiority, even sexual superiority, or gender superiority? Why is it that they claim to want equality? Don't you even hear in the statement? What does this person say? F your tolerance. These people aren't tolerant. These people don't want equality. These people do not want to be equal. They don't want to level the playing ground. They want dominance. This is who they are. This is what they desire. They desire black supremacy, and in this case, in this context, they want black trans woman supremacy. What does this even mean for black men? Where does this leave you? This is a movement that is absolutely dominating and that is advocating for the supremacy of black trans women. So where does this leave black men? Does this make you less equal? I would ask you this question because if this is a movement that is based on achieving equality on the financial level, on the economic level, on the social level, on all levels, why is it that black trans women are exalted over even black men in a so-called movement that is desiring equality, not only for all, but for specifically black people? Now, this was hours after Bevel and Betty tainted with paint the Black Lives Matter mural and was arrested, but she was let out like hours after. We actually saw her a couple hours after, and this is when I showed up because I caught wind of it. I was all over New York at the time. I'm only one man. New York is huge. There's a lot of ground to cover. I wish I could be in every location at once, but I can't. So when I saw what happened with Bevelin, I went straight to Trump Tower NYC, and there were patriots there. There were also some Black Lives Matter antagonists there as well, because they were all pissed off that their precious mural that's on the floor. And just think about this real quick. Don't you find it interesting that the left and Democrats, let's give black people something to be proud of. You know what? Let's give them something that's on the street, that people walk on, that cars drive over. Yeah, let's give them something to be proud of. Let's give them a mural. Let's give them something to be honored by. Where are we going to put it? We're going to put it on the street. That's what we think of black people. Yeah. Don't you think you deserve better than that? I would want better for myself than some kind of mural that's on the floor that people just walk all over. But I guess that's what the Democrats and leftists see black people deserving. Anyways, so when I made it to Trump Tower NYC in the evening, I think it was around 11 p.m., there were patriots out there. There was one individual that was actually attempting to do it again. He had his paint cans. He was set to the side, and we were all talking. They were strategizing how he wanted to do it. They were looking at the police. They were kind of just sizing up the situation, preparing to taint the Black Lives Matter mural on the floor in front of Trump Tower again. Now, as he was about to do this, the NYPD, there's cameras all over the place. There's Secret Service. I'm pretty sure there's audio. The whole thing is wired, right? It's Trump Tower. It's the president's, one of his hallmark locations. So NYPD, they walked up to this individual out of nowhere. They started talking to him. They said, "What is this? What are you doing? Are you going to do it again?" And the guy didn't deny it. He just said, this is what I'm going to do. There's obviously paint right here. So he said and started lecturing him, this NYPD officer, not sure his rank, but he started lecturing this patriot and telling him, "I can't let you do that. I can't let you vandalize. We can't let any vandalism happen on our watch. So I'm going to have to ask you to take your paint and go and take it and put it in your car. We'll escort you." And the patriot, he obeyed and he gave the guy a break. But this is when I started to question this NYPD officer. And I didn't do it disrespectfully. I wanted to know, because I'm an investigative reporter. This is my job to bring these things out. I started to question this NYPD officer, and I asked him, and you'll see right here, just exactly what went down. So take a look.
Blue Lives Matter!
Why are you gentlemen protecting graffiti? We're doing this for you
How
guys.
come Black Lives Matter could vandalize and spray paint buildings?
It's not up to me.
Who's it up to? The mayor?
It's up to me.
The mayor, right? And the governor? I'm not coming at you. I just want to know.
I'm following orders, my man. Okay?
From the mayor,
You know that.
Mayor Bill de Blasio?
From above my pay grade.
Got it.
Above my pay grade, brother.
Got it.
Okay, but we just can't have the vandalizing. That's all. Okay.
So you do agree? It's hypocritical.
I can't give an opinion. I cannot give an opinion on anything. Okay, that's I can't do that. We're not allowed to give opinions on any political matters. Okay. All we can do, like I said, we have to protect this mural from defacement. Okay? And whether I agree or disagree is immaterial. Okay. That's all it is.
Following my supervisor's orders.
Bill de Blasio and Communist Cuomo. So I asked him, why are you allowing Black Lives Matter to vandalize in New York City, but you're not allowing patriots to do the same thing? Don't you find that hypocritical? He doesn't say no. He gives a thumbs up when I say Bill de Blasio. And he shakes his head yes. And he says it's his higher ups. Now we all know this. It's no surprise that the reason why that Black Lives Matter mural just happens to be in front of the President of the United States, Trump Tower, we all know why that's happening, because Bill de Blasio has caved in. He's a communist. He was raised by communists. The guy literally honeymooned in a communist country. This guy loves communism. Now, we know that's a clear message because Black Lives Matter is a communist organization by their own admission. And now that the mayor of New York, which is a communist, is aligning with this communist organization and is sending a message to Trump Tower by painting this organization in front of his tower, So does it surprise you that an NYPD officer is clearly acknowledging that this communist mayor is the one that is responsible for the hypocrisy of defending the communists in New York City and not the patriots in New York City? You see that? You see how this works? And this is what I wanted to bring up as we close today. NYPD, police officers across the nation are being put in a very tight situation because on one side, Black Lives Matter wants to the entire police across the entire nation, dismantle them, defund them, disarm them. On one side, the police are having to deal with this crap all over the nation, which is very hard. It's not good. But on the other side, and this is all coming from the left, but on the other side, because of COVID-19, police officers are being controlled. Police officers are being ordered to arrest moms in parks that disobey governors and mayors' stay-at-home orders. Police officers are being ordered to arrest business owners that don't shut down their businesses across the nation because of COVID-19. Police officers are even being used to tell Americans that their First Amendment rights are not valid right now because of the pandemic, or they can't peacefully protest, or they can't peacefully assemble because of the COVID-19 pandemic. You guys have been seeing this for the past months. Police officers are being used by the left as objects of power to promote and to accomplish their authoritarian agenda. You're seeing it on both sides. So the point I want to make today is that I want police officers to know, and I know a lot of you watch me, you are going to have to make a decision very soon. You're either going to continue to obey these communist, socialist, authoritarian governors and mayors and carry out their orders against Americans and violate their constitutional rights. You're either going to choose that side, or you're going to have to make a decision to reject these communists and to uphold your constitutional oath, which has enabled you to have that badge, which has enabled you to uphold the rule of law. What am I saying? We are coming to a point in history where police officers are going to have to make an independent decision. Are you going to continue to obey radical communist mayors like Bill de Blasio in New York City that are carrying out orders like this, hypocritically defending the communist organization in your city, like Black Lives Matter? These are what these police officers in New York are being ordered to do by a communist mayor. Defend the communist organization, arrest the patriots. You are going to have to make a decision. You are either going to have to literally turn against the communists, reject them, or you are going to have to turn against Americans and the Constitution. That's a decision that you have to make as an officer right now. And I know it's a hard one to make, but with God on your side, you have to do what's right. You took a constitutional oath to uphold the rule of law with your badge, with your authority, with your life. Not communism, not authoritarianism, not organizations that back up communist organizations that subvert and suppress the Constitution. This is a decision, ma'am. This is a decision, sir, that you're going to have to make very soon. And I know it's a very hard decision to make, and it's not a decision that you want to make. But I think history repeats itself. When the police are attacked and law and order is disarmed, those men are going to have to make, and those women are going to have to make a decision. Who are they going to obey? The tyrannical government or the constitutional republic that gave them that job, that they swore an oath to protect with their very life? And I know it's a very hard decision to make, but this is the profession that you chose. And with God on your side, when you do what is right and you uphold what is true, you'll be blessed. Don't be afraid. Now, I want to leave you guys with this, and I want you to think about this. The rule of law is being attacked right now. And this officer made it very clear that he's taking orders from communist Bill de Blasio. And it's not a good situation right now. But we're coming to a point in our country where we have to take a stand against these communists that are calling for a revolution. You're seeing it in the streets. I don't even have to tell you anymore. I have enough documented evidence to show you that there are self-proclaimed communists in America that are calling for a revolution out in broad freaking daylight to overthrow your country. So what does that mean? That means that these people are willing to do anything and everything at all costs to usher in their communist revolution, which includes you. Anyone or anything that stands in their way, whether they're just a everyday useful idiot, whether they're some kind of influential figure in their movement, or whether they're a educator or a Marxist professor in their movement, or whether they're a governor like Cuomo, or whether they're a mayor like Mayor Bill de Blasio. Doesn't matter. These people all unify together with a common goal, and that's to eradicate the system that they have targeted at all costs. And when you look at history, where does that lead to? It leads to slaughter and it leads to murder, because that's the only way to achieve the complete removal of freedom from people. Alrighty, guys, thank you guys for tuning into this episode of the Lives Matter official podcast. I want to thank you guys and everyone that contributed to assist me in making this trip in New York City. If you guys would like to continue to support me, you can on Patreon. The links are below. Or if you'd like to support me with a one-time donation, the link is below as well. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification and share these videos everywhere, on Twitter, on Parler, on Facebook, everywhere you can post a link, on Reddit, everywhere. Make sure to get this out. You are the Real News Gang. You are the hands and feet of this movement. And until next time, America, stay free.